For many people in school, they don't realize that the best way to learn something is by teaching it to someone else. This is the approach that I take on these YouTube videos. I try to synthesize down information into an understandable way and then teach it to the camera or to everybody watching. I think simply writing down your thoughts in the format of a newsletter, a blog, a script, a journal, anything like that really helps you kind of gather the information that you need in order to make it understandable. You also tend to really learn if you actually understand something when you have the task of trying to teach it to someone else. Depending on the level that you're required to understand it at, you might have to explain it at different levels. Maybe you need a really high level because you're going to be writing this on an engineering test, so you need to know all of the little tiny details, and maybe the person you're explaining it to would be different than if you were trying to teach it to an absolute beginner. But even just trying to synthesize something down in a way that is explainable to an absolute beginner can actually really help you understand the higher level concept, because it forces you to think of it kind of in its rudimentary form, and that allows you to better process the information and makes it easier to store in your brain than all the little intricate details. All right, I had to turn up the brightness on the camera a little bit. The sunlight makes it really hard for it to stay at the same level. There's also a secondary benefit to thinking about things in the way of how can I actually teach this to somebody else, and that is YouTube videos. If you're on the educational side of YouTube and you've ever tried to post a video and you've ever had one of them do well, you'll probably notice that the ones that tend to do well are the ones where there aren't already too many videos on that pre-existing topic. It's a topic where there needs to be a video about it because a lot of information is already out there in the world, but nobody has really taken the time to synthesize that down into an easy and understandable way. Or it's a how-to video, or it's a video that only someone with your amount of expertise has. Each one of these are sort of different forms and different styles of educational videos that will tend to do well just based on the fact that you have a proven skill set, or you have more information than anybody else, or you have some competitive advantage, like there not being a lot of videos in that space that makes it easier for your videos to be the ones that show up. And usually if it's a how-to video, that helps a lot too, because sometimes people will look up how to do this, how to do that, or an educational video like explaining this thing or that thing. But as long as it has a broad audience, then it gets picked up. So looking at some of my examples on my channel, the videos in the past that have done really well have been ones talking about mechatronics engineering, and that's because many universities provide a program that is titled mechatronics engineering, but a lot of people don't know what it is. So what I did was synthesize information that was technically already out there and information that I gained from actually being in the program, and then I made it into an hopefully easy to understand, digestible video that answered questions that people had, which weren't super easily found online. I also benefited from the fact that at the time there weren't very many people making videos about mechatronics engineering, and I still don't think there are very many people making videos about mechatronics engineering. It is an extremely niche topic, which actually makes it a good contender because it's niche, but also many people do actually have questions about it. So if it's something that's niche, but something that has questions which can be answered relatively easily, that makes it a good combo because there aren't likely a lot of people making videos about it, but there is a lot of demand for those kinds of things. I think another important aspect of creating a successful video is having that expertise. So I can pull from the fact that I was in engineering school, I got an engineering degree, and that gives me some amount of credibility. And I can also do a lot more research than anybody else into a particular topic, and that can also lend me some credibility. If you think of people who post like documentary style videos every single week, like Johnny Harris on his YouTube channel, that, for example, is a channel that has tons of different topics, but the research is very in-depth. And he's a journalist, so he's practiced at it, but it's very in-depth information, and he presents it in a very compelling way. Lots of graphics and like cool stuff like that. And then obviously once you get past just like the content of the video, you have to kind of get into the best way of presenting that content, which is like a whole other thing. I'm not the best editor in the world, or hiring an editor who can actually do a better job than I can, but there are many different ways to present the same information, and that can also be a competitive advantage if you're the one presenting it in the best and most easy to view and understand and hear way. But that's a layer beyond. Right now we're just kind of talking about how to provide the best information and we can worry about all the editing and crap after. So even if you don't particularly have a realm of expertise, or maybe you want to branch off of your realm of expertise, you can kind of become an expert by just being the one with the most information, like Johnny Harris. For example, maybe you read a book and other people haven't read that book. Well, you're an expert on that book, so you can actually make a video talking about what's in the book, what you thought about it, and if you provide kind of a good context to the stuff that's in the book, and you show people ways that they can apply things that are in the book, you can sort of become a short-term, like pseudo-expert on that one thing. But you can try to find a way to add something valuable to the discussion, and that often is enough to get you elevated and get your videos pushed. Let's say you're in university. Even if you've taken a course in university, you actually have some amount of knowledge. Even if you might not have done that well in it, you still have more knowledge than someone who's 1 year before you. So what can you do? You can synthesize the information. You can tell people how you studied. You can do a lot of stuff with just one course from a university. If you do a good job teaching certain concepts, or the way that you present information is really good, or you're just a compelling person to watch, then you can actually get a lot of views simply by taking content that's already out there and repackaging it. Honestly, sometimes if you're a really good repackager and you teach people even better than their professors, they will come and watch you. Because I know from personal experience that some professors really suck, and the only way I got through courses was watching YouTube videos. So the more people that are out there who are actually trying to show how they got through a certain thing is super helpful to people that come before you. And I think overall it's a net positive if you're trying to add your knowledge onto the internet. You can also practice just making YouTube videos by throwing up content on like a burner channel or a second channel. Like I'll just throw up random stuff on my second channel sometimes just to see what sticks, or if anyone's actually interested in that style of video, or if it's something completely unrelated, but I just felt like making a video out of it, because video creation comes in many different forms, not just sitting in front of the camera and talking. So I think the more that you kind of try to practice this skill, and the more that you try to teach other people what you have already learned, the better off you'll be, and this will be a very valuable skill for you for the longevity of your career as well. Another important consideration is to think about the avatar of the person who you're trying to teach. So for example, the videos that I was making about mechatronics engineering, I didn't really know what it was before I went into mechatronics engineering, so I would be teaching either high school students or first-year university students, and I would want to give them the information that at the time I was curious in. So that was, what are the job prospects like? How much money can you make in these particular jobs? What are the courses like? What is the whole structure of the program like? So all of those things are questions that I had at the time when I was in high school and first year of university, and I was trying to figure out my way. And then I kind of branched off a little bit and talked about different types of engineering that I was also curious in when I was deciding on which type of engineering I should choose. So I kind of made short videos about all of those, and I used information either from my friends or from the internet, or just from hearing things here and there, and I tried to synthesize all of it into a video, and they ended up doing pretty well because I was answering questions that I knew people had, because myself and many of my friends had similar questions. So if you can answer those questions in a digestible way that really just gets to the point, you can do very well. So it really helps to think about who the person that you're speaking to actually is, who is your like ideal customer of the video, and what are their questions, what are their problems, what are their difficulties, and what are you trying to teach them. For example, right now I'm at a different stage of life. I have the engineering degree. I've been working for about a year or so, but I'm still trying to figure out my career. And that has been the topic of a lot of my past videos, is just career related stuff. I've been reading books, I've been talking with people, and I've been finding information online that can help me decide what the best career is going to be going forward, and just trying to learn about all these different types of career paths and how to choose, how to network. So I'm taking the things that I'm learning while I'm learning them, and I'm trying to synthesize it in a way a little bit just so that I can better understand these things, but also so that I can try to teach people who are in a similar position that I'm in about how to go about finding a career that they'll actually enjoy. And then once I get into a career, I'll be able to make videos reflecting on the difficulties and challenges that I went through, what I found easy, what I found difficult, what worked, what didn't. And I'll be able to kind of synthesize that information and turn that into a video. And then I can start making videos about working your way up in a certain career. And anyway, you get the progression. So you can really just pull things from previous stages in your life. You can pull things from books. You can pull things from courses. You can pull things from literally everywhere, from just the internet or a podcast or an idea that came into your head. There will usually be at least one person out there who you're helping that will really appreciate what you have to say. And even on some of the videos that recently haven't been getting that many views, I still get a couple of comments saying, you know, this is a really useful video, I'm going to come back to it later, or thanks for saying this was exactly what I was thinking. So, you know, stuff like that. And it's nice to see that there are still people out there who are being helped by a simple video. Everyone is just trying to figure out their life, and if you can help them do that, I really think you should. So the moral of this video is I think you should share everything that you learn with the world. Well, maybe not everything. If you have some amount of expertise on something, you never know who it might help in the world, and you also are helping yourself by having to synthesize this large amount of information that you just gathered and make it understandable to teach somebody else. So it's kind of a win-win-win-win. And if in the process you do make a couple of mistakes or you say something that's wrong, don't worry, the internet will be there to correct you. If you want to start a YouTube channel and you don't really have that many ideas, it's really simple to just start by teaching something that you have some amount of expertise in. You don't have to be a professional. I started when I was in university. All the experience that I had was that I was 1 year ahead of the person who was behind me, and it worked. So there are lots of different variations to YouTube and lots of different things to talk about. It's also interesting to realize that some of the most profitable institutions on the planet are educational institutions. And if you're thinking about a potential future career, maybe you're working in a trade or something, and at some point your back is going to give out, or, you know, it's hard on your body. Well, if you become a teacher, that can really extend the longevity of your career. And usually the people who have gained a massive skill set become the best teachers. And if you practice that skill now and you practice teaching while you're still learning, once you get to the point of actually having to teach, whether that's in an actual educational institution or through a YouTube video, you'll have built up this dual skill set of doing the thing and teaching the thing, and your career can extend much longer than it would have if you were just focused on doing the thing. And also, just from a selfish point of view, I know a lot of people out there really enjoy helping others and just seeing them put your advice to use. And a great way to do that is just by making videos. People will put some of your advice to use, maybe they won't. But if you get, you know, lots of positive feedback, it can be super cool to see people learning from the things that you've done. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you found it interesting or useful. If you did, be sure to like it and subscribe. Hopefully you go out there and you help yourself by learning content really well, and you help others by teaching it to them, and you make the world a better place.